past, present, and future. So beyond space, creation and destruction happen simultaneously. So in the dimension of time start the past, present, and the future. But in a macrocosmic, ancient, enlightened Hindu civilizational nation. The Supreme Pontiff is the 1008th incarnation of Paramashiva, as as the 233rd Guru Mahasannidhanam of the Kanchi Kailasa Sagadnipeetam, the incumbent emperor of the Surya Vamsa Surangi Samrajyam, the present 293rd Jagat Guru Mahasannidhanam of Kailasonatha Shamala Pita Sagadnipeetam, the present Mahamandaleshwar of Mahanirvani Akada, the largest apex monastic order, Hindu leaders. And Supreme Pontiff is revered as a teacher of Hinduism, the most prolific, most viewed, read, and watched. He has authored 300 books and 10,000 articles in 3 languages, in Tamil, English, and Sanskrit, enriched over 1 billion lives digitally, and he is respected as the commentator of all the sacred scriptures like the Upanishad, survivor of 108 ancient Hindu sampradayas, including the Rudrakanyas, the Rudras, the Rishis, Rishikas, Bhairavas, Bhairavis, Sannyasis. And he is the establisher of the largest Hindu university, Kailasa's Nithyananda Hindu University, in the world, with over 1 million books, 1 million palm leaf sculptures, and over 20 million digital books. So,
let us learn about what are Shaktis. So today you will be witnessing the following powers of third eye, where one awakens the ability to scan and see everything and anything just as they see with their 2 eyes, and the solutions for those body problems. But before you witness this extraordinary demonstration, let us learn what are Shaktis. In the Vedagamas, the source scriptures of Hinduism, Paramashiva reveals in elaborate detail that every person is hardwired to be able to manifest the 400 of manifesting powers, Shaktis and Siddhis. Shaktis manifest from the fundamental cognition that you are the divine, and manifest from a deep space of oneness with Paramashiva, from the space of enlightenment as a side effect of through ordinary beings in extraordinary ways, just after initiation from the avatar, and they lead you towards enlightenment, whereas Siddhis express from tapas or penance, and they are unchanging beyond time, space, form, and causality. As the fundamental base of Avyakta, the unmanifest, and Vyakta, the manifest existence, he performs the Panchakritya, or the 5 Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Jagat Guru Mahasannidhanam, His Divine Holiness, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam. Just to revive all these extraordinary Shaktis, Paramashiva has landed as the 1008th incarnation of Paramashiva and Pati Yogi, Pundi Mahan, so many of these enlightened gurus who recognize Swamiji as an avatar at a very young age and have trained and taught Swamiji to revive these sciences and to initiate billions of people to manifest these extraordinary sciences, taking these divine Shaktis in us. How do we manifest these extraordinary Shaktis? Every ultimate truth, Jnana, mapped into your consciousness, Prajna, manifests as a power and possibility of every being, Prajnana. So let us now watch a small video which explains what is Diksha, what is initiation, and what are the side effects of initiation.
Diksha is the direct transfer of spiritual energy by an enlightened being through look, word, or muktayah. The main benefit of all initiations is mokshinasya, na siddhihi na cha sadgatihi, tasmat sarva prayatnena, guruna dikshito bhavet. The one who is not initiated does not attain liberation, floods the brain with energy. This is the superconscious energy of Kundalini, our own used before. With increasing levels of coherence, the whole brain comes alive, turning into a superconductor of conscious energies that heal. Kundalini awakening, healing experience, levitation, teleportation, materialization. Experience the power of initiation through a range of exclusive programs conducted at the ashram. Nithyananda
Aspects of evidences or pramanas. The first is the Shastra Pramana, the unchangeable truths revealed in the source scriptures by Paramashivoham. Pontiff of Hinduism, Jagadguru Mahasannidhanam, His Divine Holiness Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam. This millennium's avatar's personal experience of power manifestation. And last is the Pratyaksha Pramana, or the empirical evidence from observation and scientific experimentation scriptures. And they are a superior authority for Hindus. Agamas are the scriptures where the scriptures or Shastras is called a Shastra Pramana. So without further delay, let us get ready to witness a unique and exciting demonstration of the power of third eye. So the power of third eye is where one awakens the ability to read with a blindfold. So let us see the Shastra Pramana with the power of third eye, which comes Manasodadhyat Lakshaye Lakshamuttamam. The translation goes, by fixing the mind on the inner space within the crown center and sitting stably without any movements, attaining the space of Paramashiva. The next is Apta Pramana, where it goes back to the time of Bhagavan Krishna, when Bhagavan Krishna in his form, which is completely narrated by Arjuna as he sees Bhagavan Krishna through the third eye. Natumam shakyase drashtum anenaiva swachakshushah divyam dadami. Behold my cosmic opulence. Next is the Atma Pramana, the Swamiji beautifully shares in his own. Next is the Sakshi Pramana, the empirical evidence from observation and scientific experimentation. So you can see the study measures compare the metabolic cell activity of the brain in conscious and meditative states using the PET, the positron emission from scientific experimentation. And now you will be witnessing the live Sakshi Pramana and how this rare sacred science is being made available to humanity and how the initiated disciples are able to manifest these extraordinary Shaktis as a day-to-day lifestyle. So, along with me, I have a medically tested eye band. I have a medically tested eye band. You can see in front is a complete opaque sheet and behind is a thick sponge. You can see that there's a strap to comfortably strap the eye band to Makaladhara. In hospitals of India, and it is proven that even with the eyes open inside this eye band, there is no possible way of light entering in this eye band. So I'll be placing this eye band on Makaladhara's eyes. You can see that everything eyes, and now I'm strapping it to her head. So you can see Makaladhara, look to your right, left, up. So you can see the live Kailasa's HDH Nithyananda YouTube channel, and Ma Kaladhara will be reading it live in front of all of you today. So I request all of you to go ahead. You can post emojis, numbers, shapes, anything, sentences. You can post medical term posting. And her eye band.
There's a comment from 7 SEA. Suhila Survey SUN Santu AANNI PASHAYANTUMA and Shanti.
Yes, so that was amazing. We saw how 7 Searchful has posted in the Kailasa's HDH Nithyananda page. So that was amazing. I request all of you to continue posting. You can post anything you want. Any comment in Tamil and Ma Kaladra will be reading it out. These are 3 random storybooks, and in these 3 storybooks there are a total of 31 pages in the first book, 30 pages in the second book, and around 50 pages. So this is book 1, this is book 2, and this is book 3. Any one of the viewers can post which book they want Ma Kaladra to read and which page number out of these 3 books they want Ma Kaladra. So I request all of you to go ahead and continue posting. Ma Kaladra is eagerly waiting to manifest this extraordinary Shakti third eye in front of all of you. Okay, so yes, now all the viewers can choose. Okay,
Manitya Paramapriyananda has posted page 30.
a random book. So I'll be choosing any random book out of these 3. So Ma Kaladra, you can open page 30 in this book and you can read. So I request you to show it.
Yes. 7 Searchful has posted Tales of Vishnu. VALBUR.
Okay, so I'll be giving that book to her then. So you can see how this is accurate, page 30. Yes, Ma Kaladra, you can go ahead and start reading. Or you can actually describe the picture.
With a mustard yellow color shawl, and there is a pillow, the yellow and black color shawl on his head, and here they show both of them fighting, and the purple is lying down. The guy is lying down. The guy who is wearing a purple dress.
Okay, so that was a very elaborate description. So as all of you can see how Ma Kaladra is lying down. So Ma Kaladra has beautifully described. She even described that there's a green curtain here. So you can see how beautifully Ma Kaladra has described each picture with her third eye. So accurate. 3 books with us, and you can post. And the biggest book has 90 pages. So from 1 to 19, you can do 90. You can choose any page, and Ma Kaladra will be describing the pictures, reading.
Expressions of me, I am Ma Jalandhritananda has posted with the 2 dots and a closed bracket, and expression of me, I am Ma Jalandhritananda has also posted page number 44. Yes,
Okay,
Ma, now
Ma.
I'll be reading the page number 44.
Okay, Ma, we have these 2 books with us. Which number? Which book do you want Ma Kaladra to read? Page 44. And actually, in this book, which has yes, so she has correctly chosen the one with the red border. Yes, Ma Kaladra, open page 44.
This book has only 30 pages.
Okay, amazing. So as all of you can see, this book has only 30 page. Okay, so okay. Makaladra, why don't you go ahead and read?
Yes. Expressions of me, I am Mahajarendra Nithyananda has posted.
Yes. So Makaladra has chosen correctly page number 22.
There are two males, and the first person has a grayish gray but little purple hair, and he has a feather on his turban. He's wearing a top. He's wearing is light pink, and the person next to him is wearing a light green turban, and there are four bolsters which is there next.
Describe the top part of the picture. So all of you can see how in the top part of picture, Ma Kaladara beautifully described that there is two people sitting up. The first person is wearing a purplish pink. There are three pillars, and you can see how Ma Kaladara was even able to see the amount, how many cushions are there, how many pillows are there, and how they are. You can see how the eye band is completely intact. There's no change to the eye band. Everything is the same, and you can see how Ma Kaladara is still adjusting to the light. So her eyes were closed inside the whole time, and she was able to see with her eyes closed. So that is a very then I request all of you to call your family members and friends and go ahead and start posting your comments. Start posting requests for body scanning in the Kailasa's HDH Nithyananda channel, and then the Balasans and the Nithyananda yogis will be coming and doing a live. Yes. So now you will be seeing the pramanas for the power of body scanning, where one awakened problem even started in your body in the first place. The third eye doesn't just reveal the problem, it reveals why it started. There are so many cases where the person is not able to relate with the scanning. The person will be like, no, I don't have this problem. Jagato vapi sukshma sukshma tarani cha tattvani yani nilayam yatvante. By the experience of such restful awareness, one becomes complete from all the thoughts, and the ultimate universal divine power, Paradevi, Adi Shakti, is revealed Agastya. And one day, a man suffering from a severe headache came to Agastya for healing. And Agastya did the body scanning and revealed that there is a small type of terai, a frog, sitting in his head. And, next is the Atma Pramana, the experience of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Jagadguru Mahasanidhanam, His Divine Holiness Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam. Swami, therefore, for medical checkups related to that. And at that time, they detected heavy metal quantity in different organs of mine, and it was revealed that I had been poisoned without our knowledge. I immediately used diagnostic methods. And last is the Sakshi Pramana, the experiences and results of the extraordinary manifestations being manifested through the different disciples of Swamiji who have been initiated. So, and you'll be thinking, wow, even the participants are able to manifest, even you yourself can manifest. Just join the Paramashivoham level 2 program and you can also manifest. But now, by the Balasans and the Nithyananda yogis. So now, I request all of you to continue posting, call your family members, call your friends, show them that they can manifest this power. extraordinary power of body scanning for all of you today. So I request the YouTube comments to be projected, and all of you please continue posting your requests and comments for the power of body scanning, and the Balasins are eagerly waiting to manifest this extraordinary Shakti. Okay. So else, please continue posting your comments. Please post for body scanning. And okay, so Ahmed Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. First thing I was able to see is like a navy blue color, but it's in that shade, but it's a kind of lighter blue also, but it's a mix of those two colors. And Paramashiva revealed one, and you can also share how you felt when the Balasin did the scanning. Yes, Ma'am Ramyoga, you can go ahead.
Yes, so my Mahachalandra Paramashiva revealed to me that for your sister Mayuri, the solution for her diabetes is every day after she gets up, the first thing she should, before eating anything or before even drinking water. So if she follows this simple solution for 1 month, it will heal.
Oh, wow, a very unique solution for your sister, Ma. Paramashiva has revealed a neem and turmeric paste she has to eat every morning. So, okay, first thing, Ma, Swamiji has actually advised anyone outside of India not to come in India right now, as the COVID is spreading, and it is really been out told anybody who is out of India best not to move into India, as COVID-19 is spreading really fast around the world, and yes, and is taking many lives.
Nithyananda Mahamadaya.
Scan even and reveal the solution. So I request Ma Mahajalandhara Sthitananda and Ahmedaya, I request you to get back in the chat and verify and confirm whether the scanning is correct or not. Ma Mahajalandhara Sthita has put okay. So Ma Soni, okay, so Ma Mahajalandhara Sthitananda has posted for my sister. Yes, neem and turmeric first thing in the morning. Yes, ma'am. Thank you for getting. Yes. So Ma Soni, what problems you have? Why don't you go ahead and share?
Okay, so I would like to share my experience of how I felt when I manifested body. It wasn't for me to do a body scanning for them, and I did the body scanning, and like that was the first time I was going for a demo and doing a body scanning live for someone. So I was really nervous, and then, but even though I was nervous, I still did the experience. I was like thinking, should I tell it? Is it really? Does he really have it, or am I just thinking? Because it was like so exact, right or wrong. After all credits go to him. So I just told, I clenched my hands really tight, and I just told that that was my first. That's my experience of the first time I did body scanning, and from that day onwards, I like whatever solutions come, I'm completely confident, and I just stayed because I know it will be correct, because after all, Swamiji has revealed
the Kalpataru demo, and one person came and asked me, okay, why don't you go ahead and scan my house? I was like, okay, and I did the I did the house scanning for him, and I revealed that he is on the 3rd floor, and he was like, no, I'm not on the 3rd floor. I'm on the 4th floor. Without the ground floor, without the basement, if you count it, I'm living on the 3rd floor. And then he was like, yeah, I'm living on the 3rd floor. And then I continued the scanning. And then I was like, you have a guitar. It's next to your sofa on the corner of it's a little open. And he was just like, oh my God. He was so shocked because that's exactly how it was. He had a guitar right next to the sofa in the corner of the house, and the black case was a little open and the guitar was shown. So he was so shocked how he was able, leaning against the wall, and the black case is open. It's just the trust on Swamiji. Just with the trust on Swamiji, whether we get it right or no, at the end, and much, much more. So now it's time to conclude this power manifestation session. We thank all of you for joining us in this beautiful power manifestation session. We already have Manitya Nithyananda ready to start the next session, where
demonstration of the powers by the Balasants of Nithyananda Gurukul. And every single day, no matter what, without fail, we have seen how the Balasants begins, and we are seeing the possibilities of humankind being manifested through these individuals. And we can see every single day how so many people are being purpose of the Guru in our lives, the purpose of which the avatar happened on planet Earth. And in this day and age, we are celebrating, we'll be understanding who is Devi Parashakti. Let us be introduced, for many of us for the first time, to who is Devi Parashakti. Who is this Devi? We'll now understand Devi Parashakti from the very beginning, from the way that she is described in the Shastras. The Lalita Sahasranama is in fact, it has all of the 1008 qualities of Devi Parashakti listed. Such beautiful significance behind. Then we'll be entering into the next segment with the Dhyana Shloka for Devi Parashakti. We'll be understanding Devi Parashakti to interact with each and every one of us, to bless each and every one of us. Devi Parashakti is the ultimate, pure, divine feminine consciousness. And she is the ultimate embodiment of life itself. And we connect to her as our of Devi Parashakti. Joining with me today is Manitya Atma Priyananda Swami as well, to introduce to each and every one of you who is Devi Parashakti. Let us first begin with the Dhyana Shlokas and meditate on Devi and invoke her presence among
पाणिभ्यामलिपूर्णरत्नचषकं रक्तोत्फलं बिभ्रतीं सौम्यां रत्नघटस्थरक्तचरणां ध्यायेत् परामम्बिकाम्.
Now I'll just be briefly chanting the English translation as well. Look up one and the other, twirling a red lotus.
The next Dhyana Sloka is Arunam Karunatarangitakshim Dritapashankusha Pushpabana Chapa.
Holds the news, the gold bow and the flowery arrow in her hands. She is surrounded on all sides by powers such as Anima Pares, and she is the self within me.
So Devi, the ultimate pure feminine consciousness, Parashakti, is the cosmic mother. It is her cosmic womb even now, and in which all of us are going to merge.
And out of her extreme love and compassion, Parashakti herself is manifesting through the embodied form as future and delivering profound spiritual truths, and ultimately giving us the experience of Paramashivoham itself.
So in the words of Parashakti herself, it says, raising as Omkara, expressing as Vedas and Agamas, blossomed as Krimkara, filled to give good boon to everyone, to bestow all goodness. Hiranyagarbha Swarupini, Brahmanda Yoni, Shami, Chandramauli, Rapala, Aparna.
Raising in Omkara, blossoming as Shiva, and Shiva manifesting as the source of existence, powers of existence, expression of existence. And from the oneness of Om, as 9 grahas, blossoming as 10 Indriyas, being as 11 Rudras, creating all the world to tell and make.
When you're having the darshan in the screen, so how to receive her? So let us receive her very, very traditionally. So the traditional way of receiving her, it actually includes having the tambulam ready. The tambulam would include a plate with 2 betel leaves, a banana, a betel nut, and a coin. So that coin is called as a
nut, and take it as a prasadam immediately. Collect those coins and send it to the LA temple. This betel leaf, the betel nut, may look really small, but in a few days you will see how much it adds to your sentiment that really Devi Parashakti. Now, as you can see here, we have a couple of samples of the betel leaf, the betel nut, the betel nut, the banana, and the coin. So, and it's all arranged in a plate here, as you can see. the coconut. So now let us see how we can ask our questions. Now that we have been introduced to Devi Parashakti, how can we ask our questions and interact and start interacting personally with Devi Parashakti? Ask her or how you can ask your questions through YouTube. So on YouTube, you should first ensure that you are a member of Kailasa's HDH Nithyananda YouTube channel, and this will of Sanatana Hindu Dharma. And once you're a member, you'll be able to enter into the chat any of your questions or your prayers on the right-hand side. So make sure that you're able to do those steps on YouTube.
Yes. So then page, and then after that, you can ask your questions in the comment section under the live stream.
And many of you are frequent users of Twitter, so you can also ensure that you are following, hit reply, and then you can use the hashtag #AskTheAvatar in order to give your reply and to ask your questions and receive the blessings of Devi Parashakti.
The next social media platform is the Instagram account. So Sri Nithyananda is the official Instagram account.
Kalasa.org through the WhatsApp widget. If you have WhatsApp, you can use the WhatsApp widget. And also you can use the live chat widget. So these two are other options that you can use through Kailas. Understand that Devi Parashakti has addressed each and every one of us as individuals, as people who are, some of us most desperately outside today. But Devi Parashakti has not only attended to us as individuals, but also as humanity as a whole, has given us supreme through this day and age, through the COVID-19 pandemic, where she has literally been able to handhold us through these extremely dark and tense. So in this next segment, we will be understanding the guidance that Devi Parashakti has given, the pure guidance, and so many different ways Devi Parashakti has given us supreme knowledge and wisdom. So now we will now be entering into the next segment of today's program. Humanity is still undergoing the after effects of the cosmic deluge and thousands of deaths due to the global pandemic and emerging fungal epidemic and mental health issues.
Yes. So why did this happen? So what has caused this? Who is behind this, and how could we have avoided this? So what is the solution for this? So in this segment,
3.8 million deaths, 175 million confirmed cases, and the top worst affected countries being USA, India, and Brazil at the moment.
So we could see the number of increasing COVID cases, especially in India, more than
is undergoing so much of turmoil. And here we can see that India is the 6th most depressed country, 6.5% of the population suffering some form of mental illness, 15 to 24. And that is a very alarming age because it is the youth that is being directly affected.
So we will now listen to Parashakti's revelation on the 31st of May of what Parashakti has revealed.
பெருநரகமான கிருமி போஜனம் இந்தியாவிற்குள் வரக்கூடாது என்பதற்காக 2020 பாரதம் முழுவதும் 12 ஜோதிர்லிங்கமும் முறையாக கைலாய நாட்டின் தலைவனாக நிறை மரியாதையோடு நல் மதிப்பொடு என் நிஜாவதாரம் நித்யான ஓம் ஓம்.
Throughout India and 12 Jyotirlingas through my son Swamiji. They chase the captain of the ship out of the country and see what is going to happen.
In 2020, planning for a full year, I'm going to walk from Rameshwaram to Amarnath. 1 year with 10,000 people. 10,000 people will be walking with me. Maybe 200 vehicles to carry our food and all the other items, transportation. Enjoying the river bank. The scene of Buddhism spreading will be repeated now. How the Buddhism spread. Just want to enjoy India and let India enjoy me. So planning for next year Kumbh Mela 2019, next year January Kumbh Mela. 5 Rajagopurams, which will be something like 120 feet. This will be the Balalayam. And after the Mulalayam is built, this Balalayam will serve as a Utsavamurti Sannidhi, where the Utsavamurti, because 12 Abhishekam is going to happen, 12 Kala Abhishekams. So continuously the rituals will be going on. People can have only darshan. They will not be able to involve themselves in any ritual. Balalayam, the present Balalayam, present structure. So people can spend time here. That will be more like a main darshan. 1 full year, Padayatra, walking. From next year, Jayanti, means 2019's Jayanti, to 10,000 people will be walking. What a scene it will be. I think that is the only way the revival of Sanatana Hindu Dharma can be done. I need to get into the ground where people can see me, user friendly. For that only I am sitting and working. So I have given 2 years for me now, 2018 and 2019. So 2020, before that 10,000 people will be ready to walk with me, village, and ask people, tell me your problem now, come on, let's sort it out. Understand, 1,200 years before, carvings are there. Even Srirangam temple, the whole carving is there. Srirangam temple gives a week by week the whole picture of male baby and female baby. Any of you have seen that? Chunk of 80, 90 to be displayed in this Balalayam. Work is going on all of that. We are also going to tell you the sign to community from India moved. One is agriculture community, another one is business community. These two community only traveled.
Yes. So since the age of 10, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has been preparing for the Padayatra to say where he is conducting a huge satsang on the title Anandam Selvathai Inikum.
And he continued to conduct so many programs, enriching many people, giving darshan, initiation, and taking the science of enlightenment to the world. And here you can see on the 19th of November 2005 in
For the Guru.
And more programs conducted on the 21st of November 2005.
And again in 2005, where he has conducted huge satsangs and programs in Salem, Tamil Nadu. This is the huge crowds of people actually swarming around him, waiting for his darshan and healing.
And on the 1st of January 2006 now. And in Adi Kailasha Satpatipita on Guru Purnima Day.
And this is the, and he himself is conducting the Sapta Yagam in July 2006 in Salem in Tamil.
And here in Adi Kailasha Satpatipita, the Nithyananda Spurna program into
the various contributions of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, how he has enriched thousands and thousands of people by healing, by giving enriching sessions and actually explaining to them and giving them the glimpse of the signs of enlightenment through initiation.
Devi Parashakti's solution for this pralaya to end, revealed on the 31st of May.
2022 இந்தியாவிற்குள் வரக்கூடாது என்பதற்காக 2020 பாரதம் முழுவதும் 12 ஜோதிர்லிங்கமும் பாத யாத்திரை செய்து முறையாக கைலாய நாட்டின் தலைவனாக நிறை மரியாதையொடு நல் மதிப்பொடு என் நிஜாவதாரம்
So Devi revealed that the only solution 12 Jyotirlingas is allowed to happen, and India should receive the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism with great reverence and respect as the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and the head of five.
See, Kali Yuga is the worst of all the 4 yugas where man will be his own worst enemy. So in the Kurma Purana, sage Vyasa, he says, Idam Kali Yugam Goram Sampraptam Pandurandana Tato Gachami Devasya.
And the translation goes, this Kali Yuga is the worst of the 4 yugas, ages in all the world. People are sinful.
Yes, the Kurma Purana again states, Brahma Krita Yuge Devastrethayam Bhagavan Ravihi Dwapare Daivatam Vishnuhu Kalau Rudro Maheshwaraha. Brahma is the presiding divinity, Lord Maheshwara, Maha Sadashiva.
And on the 2nd of January 1978, out of his deepest compassion to protect humanity, Paramashiva himself descended into the human form in the Nijavatara of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Jagadguru Mahasanidana, his divinity. Let us listen to that revelation here.
And I tell you, O Hindus, don't be afraid. I am back with the same signs. We are going to be rich. Before it was going to be put off, I've happened. Only ambassadors. Because no time, I have to get up and come directly.
Let us listen to Devi Parashakti's revelations on this.
ஓம் ஓம் உலக மக்களே கேளுங்கள். கவலை வேண்டாம், சுகமாய் மலரும் இங்கு ஆனந்தமாக இருங்கள்.
Has come for Satya Yuga to happen. So this great pralaya has come. Don't worry, people. In the form of Nithyananda, I myself have come here. I will make Nitya Yuga. Nitya Yuga will blossom as has been preparing for this Padayatra since the age of 10.
So the Supreme Pontiff began enriching
Tamil Nadu to Tiruvannamalai, his birthplace, and a huge spiritual pilgrimage site.
And when Supreme Pontiff was around 19 years of age, you can see the Ramakrishna Mutt, where he could recall the yatra from Chennai, Tamil Nadu to Tiruvannamalai and his unforgettable pilgrimage trip.
To revive Kailasa internationally on the 31st of December 1929.
And after that, the Supreme Pontiff established the first Kailasa enlightenment ecosystem in Tiruchengodu in Tamil Nadu on the April 14th. And with his intensity and dedication, crowds of thousands of people were gathered around him, and they simply resonated deeply with his presence and his energy. Really, and guided individual souls not just to physical spiritual sites, but supernal spiritual realms.
And in 2006, the Padayatras were taken to the next level with the Kodigan Radayatra.
So you can see the Kodikan Radayatra, which was actually led by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and culminated with the consecration of the Garbha Mandir for the Nithyanandeshwara Nithyanandeshwari Parashakti and Swayambhu Nithyananda.
And here are the different Kailasas created by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism to create spiritual energy centers in India to create a safe haven for this.
Now watch the video clip of the Rudrabhishekam performed with the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism.
जनमस्सहस्राक्षाय च चतुर्धन्वने जनमो गिरिशाय वजिपिविष्टाय जनमो नीरुष्टमाय च शुमते जनमो स्रस्वाय च वामनाय जनमो बृहते च वर्षीयते जनमो वृद्धाय च संवृद्धने जनमो अग्र्याय च प्रथमाय च प्रतिसर्याय जनमो याम्याय च क्षेम्याय च नमः उर्वर्याय च खल्याय च नमः श्रोत्याय च अवसान्याय च नमो वन्याय च कक्ष्याय च नमः श्रवाय च प्रतिश्रवाय च नमः आशुषेणाय च आशुरथाय च नमः शूराय च अवभिन्दते च नमो वर्मिणे च वरुथिने च नमो बिल्मिने च कवचिने च नमः श्रुताय च श्रुतसेव्याय च नमः सूप्याय च सरस्याय च नमो नाद्याय च वैशन्ताय च नमः कूप्याय च वट्याय च नमो वर्ष्याय च नमो मेघ्याय च विद्युत्याय च नमः ईर्ध्याय च तप्याय च नमो वात्याय च रेश्म्याय च नमो वास्ताय नमः शम्भवे च मयोभवे च नमः शङ्कराय च मयस्कराय च नमः शिवाय च शिवधराय च नमः तीर्थ्याय च कूल्याय च नमः पार्याय च वार्याय.
And in 2009, the Avatar held another Kodikan Radayatra and garnered international.
நின்பதே நின்முகம் நீனைந்து இங்கு நிர்மலமாகவே ஆனதே இதய சக்கரம் அனகதமும் இனிமையோடு திறந்ததே புண்ணியம் எல்லாம் போனதே எரிந்தவாயிரும் ஏக்கமும் சேர்த்து விசுத்தி அசுத்தியானதே விசுத்தியை குரு நித்ய சத்குரு நித்யனே ஆமை பூகுந்த எண்ணகன்.
So 1,000 and plus ecosystems.
The Adi Nithyananda Paramashivam.
The Adi Kailasa Sarvagnya Peetam, and you can see Kailasa in Thiruvannamalai,
Kailasa in Columbus, Ohio,
Kailasa in Los Angeles, so you can see the Kailasa in Charlotte, USA,
Arizona,
in St. Louis, Kailasa in St. Louis, Kailasa in Oman, in Dubai, you can see Kailasa in Luxembourg,
Kailasa in Austria,
Kailasa in Germany, in Italy, in France,
Kailasa in Switzerland,
Kailasa in Pattanam, the Kailasa in Varanasi, and Alangulam, Kailasa in Chennai, Tambaram, you can see Kailasa in Chennai, Avadi. Kailasa in Chennai, Avadi is seen in Melbourne, Australia.
The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism created all of these Kailasas to ensure humanity survives and created the sovereign order of Kailasa with thousands of sannyasis with no discrimination. 1,500 satsang centers have been created, Badaka mandirs and home temples have been operating as de facto spiritual embassies of Kailasa.
So Avatar
17 devotees in Malaysia planned a Bhakti and executed it successfully, with thousands participating, with the dying Hindu population in Malaysia being reinvigorated.
Yes, you can see for every major festival, devotees from various places fall to the
26 years with 26 plus years of humanitarian service, over 1 billion free organic nutritious meals in the US, Canada, UK, Slovakia, Switzerland, and France.
and you can see world's greatest digital media platforms, over 1 billion views, Enlighten app, Enlighten Up, SoundCloud, or the Nithyananda Radio.
And 1 billion e-citizens in over 100
These global initiatives that was taken through Kailasa in holistic health, education, and development of human potential, sharing the practical protecting the humanity from the huge cosmic deluge, the pralaya which is going to affect them. But yet he was driven away and chased.
Nithyanandam, welcome back to all the viewers. We will be entering into the next segment of today's program on the different offers. Such a beautiful connection, a simple yet extremely profound connection with the divine. We understand that he is ventures and new ventures, new relationships, and getting the most out of our life. Now, whether it is our birthdays, or Hindu Dharma, as we are unfolding a new path in our lives, we request the blessings of the divine. Unfortunately, many of us are finding that the divine is not as present as we used to have in our childhood, in previous times. Perhaps we would have been so happy to be able to interact, to go to the temple for every single blessing, for every single temple or time. But in this day and age, as the internet is only what is available to us and we are in global lockdown, it is so hard to find a way properly that we can interact with the divine, have the personal darshan to your reality as you want it in your life through all of these different offerings. Now, understand that offering is a giving of, in an avatar lands, the offerings are purely a part of the grand Leela played out for the only purpose of enlightenment.
So we will now invoke Devi Parashakti by chanting the verse from Mula Agama of Manonmani Dhyanam.
And the English translation. Moon-like face holding the Vedas on hand, fire in eyes, with low.
And the next Jana sloka is Dhyaye Devim Trinetram Sashini Bhavadanam Vedahastam Dadhanam Savye Padmam Varadama Pare Chabayam Chaksha.
And the English translation. I meditate on Devi with 3 eyes glowing like the moon and holding the Vedas, lotus embracing, blessing and gracing hands.
Parashakti. So the Atharva Veda beautifully has described Treda Jutam Brahmanedam Hiranyam Agnerakam Priyatamam Babhuva सोमस्यैकम् इंसितस्य परापतत अपमेकं वेद
One they call the seed of virtuous and powerful Apaha. Let that triple gold be for your long life. Now marriages are made of gold, and it's very high value when it's a gift in gold. We already understand that, but we don't understand the next level, the quality that is actually divine and sacred in gold.
So you can see that gold is pre-civilization. Everything was built in gold, exchanged in gold, and ritual feasts were even offered in golden bricks. So when one was to be saved from life-threatening, and even the horses and cows were dressed up in gold.
The Hindu civilization thrived on the banks of rivers of gold. The Indus River was called Hiranyamaya, gold in Rig Veda, and the river Saraswati was called the Hiranyavartani. This super science that Paramashiva had gifted on planet Earth in all the different aspects of the whole life and lifestyle in the Hindu civilization. Temples are
first offering is the E-Hundi offering. So the Shastra Pramana describing Devi Parashakti says, Bhakti Priya, Bhakti Gamya, Bhakti Vashya, Bhayapaha.
Realized through true devotion, she can be won over through true devotion, and she removes all fears. Now, if there is any fear, it is meant the autumn of our lives when we are going through existentially more and more, our thoughts are turning inwards, and we are questioning inside of us the purpose of our lives and so on. The role of the divine is known and understood
through the YouTube super chat and super sticker option, which we will be guiding you in the later part of this segment. The next offering is the Sangha.
The goddess enchants the universe, and she herself gives birth to this universe. That God is being prayed without any interest in anything, gives the knowledge that leads to salvation, and gives wealth in the materialistic sense. Offering on behalf of the other person with all the fruition of the desires and wishes that you are yearning for. Every single day, having a conscious resolution is how you should start the day, and understanding that your consciousness works more powerfully than anything else today.
So the next offering is the Sahasranama Swarna Kasu, the golden coffer to the Mahameru of Devi Parashakti. So you can offer a coin inscribed with each of the 1008 names and receive the blessings to have all the divine qualities, the Ananta Kalyana Gunas of Parashakti. It is available at 3 sizes in 3 denominations, 75
with. The sacred thing is that the science of the chant, the sacred chants, is actually used in
a ring with a pearl. The Meenakshi Pancharatnam, it beautifully describes Muktahara Lasak Kirita Ruchiram Purnendu Vaktra Pranidhim.
The English translation: I bow down to the goddess Meenakshi, whose crown has pearls and face shining like the full moon, who wears anklets that are still compassion.
So you can offer the finger ring with the pearl, the Mukta Anguti, to Parashakti. The next offering is the offering of the golden lotus, the Swarna Padma Pushpam. The Kamikagama, it describes Ashtavidyeshwaropeta Kumbhavarana Samyutam Sarve Sasutra Vastradya Hema Pankaja Pushitaha Sapidana Sakurchascha Pakwa Bhilva Phala Prabha.
Actually, in the sacred Hindu scripture, the Padma Pushpa, the lotus flower, is referred in so many different places. And in fact, in all the different kinds of worship, or the lotus pericarp and lotus petals. And that's why lotus is considered as a divine flower. And in fact, Shakti of Paramashiva is also called a lotus. And the base of the Paramashiva Linga is also the lotus. And the disciple of Paramashiva is also considered as is told in the Hindu tradition, is how everywhere, in any pond, in any muddy waters, the lotus can bloom, and it can literally be the most graceful, most elegant amidst any and every adverse situation in your life. You can have the blessings to literally radiate Devi at all times just as the power of the lotus flower.
Saroruha.
The English translation: you whose brightness from toenails destroys the darkness of ignorance, bring to Devi, adorning her sacred feet, to be in constant gratitude for receiving her blessings, even in the most difficult parts of your life. This has significance, as we saw in the previous Shastra Pramana, that the very toenails of Devi Parashakti can literally.
Yes, the next offering is the Swarna Mantika, the golden hairline jewelry. Sudha Sarabi Varshini, she who makes the nectar flow in all our nerves from Sahasrara, that is, she who gives the very pleasant experience of the ultimate. So the Mantika, the hairline jewelry,
Lotus at the crown of the head. And it is such a beautiful representation here as we are talking, that the nectar which is overflowing from that very lotus, traditional piece of jewelry that is offered to Devi Parashakti, and also that all Hindu women are wearing as well as an ode in their offerings. I'd like to also say that if you would like to go ahead and start taking the next steps to make a payment or to register for yourself for any of these offerings, you can go to tiny.cc/
Namajjana Tamo Guna Padadvaya Prabhajala Parakruta Saroruha.
The illumining splendor of Devi's toenails dispels the darkness of ignorance in the devotees of prostrating at her feet that defeat the lotus. Now, Tamoguna is considered as darkness, and by constantly prostrating before Devi, the ignorance is removed and they attain knowledge. You can offer the Pratyakshapada Puja to the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and have the blessings of literally your ignorance being removed entirely. A festival, a most auspicious time to surrender all the karmas that you have, everything that you have, and surrender and offer that at the feet of Devi Parashakti and the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, and ensure that you are blessed with all the fruition, the blessings, auspiciousness in your life. During this Guru Purnima time, it's a very auspicious time for us to make this offering and for us to offer Devi Parashakti. So this brings us to a conclusion to all of the different offerings. And next, here is a summary table for all the different, and also the Pratyakshapada Puja and Vastra Seva. So all of these, the cost and the availabilities are also written down here. If you'd like to go ahead and you're ready to make your payment, I'm sure many of you are so wanting to make these offerings today, and you really want to, yet maybe the resources or the money or the time is not yet finalized in form. This intention form will help you in manifesting. You'll get more details, and if you're interested in offering, you'll be able to have the further details for all of the different offerings, and donations are here listed out. And you can just select from the drop-down menu any of the offerings that you'd like to make, and then you can select add to cart. You submit this form. Then after you are filling out the payment, you can go to Sankalpa 2021 form, and this is tiny.cc/Sankalpa 2021. Make sure that you Devalaya are chanting and making sure that your name is chanted during the puja, and the benefits are all bestowed on you. So also here we have the another beautiful channel name underneath this video. You'll see the join button. Once you have joined, on the right hand side, you'll be able to see the super chat and super stick you can offer as the e-hundi amount. And you can also choose the super sticker option, where you can choose any sticker that you'd like to send as well. And Devi Parashakti during the Bhava Samadhi Darshan will also see and bless. And you can oneness experience with the divine, and you can manifest whatever you want in your life today. And the way to make all of these, all of whatever you want to manifest into reality as a that you wanted to live from the very beginning. So you can always make these offerings, and proceed to the payment links in the scroll below as well. And another amazing news that we have for all of the for all not given up ones, for ensuring that the voice of Hindus does not die away, does not become invisible by oppressive forces or supremacist, casteist, and racist people out there. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has been continuously working in order to bring the audience. And today we are able to say, at least in some form, that the United Nations has recognized the persecution against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. Today, as we are the international audience and the genocide that has happened for the last 1,000 years against Hinduism, which by bringing to the international audience, so we will be also being joined by the Adi Kailasa Sarvagna Peetham administrators who have literally been on the grounds and taking care of the Kailasa COVID Care Centers Sarvagna Peetham, which is today serving as one of the foremost places, safest places for people to stay and live during this extremely tense time in the whole Pralaya. So we'll more than 2 decades. We'll be right back with you after a very quick break, and we'll be continuing on with the next segments in today's program.
Your own home, wherever you are. If you cannot come to Kailasa, it's okay. Kailasa can come to you. Kailasa come. I will revive Hinduism. I am a Hindu revivalist, not by any revolution, but and setting model community. Kailasas, enlightenment ecosystems, Sarvanya Peethas all over the world. Abilities manifestation happens. It's a fundamental truth. Hinduism cannot live exclusively as one, quite thinking that if one sampradaya is attacked, only that sampradaya is going to be affected. All of us are ecosystem. We will make the whole planet flourish spiritually. The spiritual prosperity will happen to the whole planet. We all have to coexist together.
Nithyanandam, and welcome. Today, we're going to share a very momentous happening for Kailasa. Once again, the United Nations has recognized the persecution of the Paramashiva. As one can see, the United Nations had called for had done an entire study on femicide. Femicide specifically means the killing. Inputs taken, studies done over various communities, and the inputs and the studies, the analysis, the extreme inhumanity of femicide. And this report, which has been published, is giving a glimpse of the whole persecution that the women community of Kailasa has gone through. We wanted to share this with you at the outset of this segment, or even the 2 billion Hindus at large today. It is actually a victory, a resounding victory, and an awareness that has been brought to the Hinduism from the face of this planet. On the one hand, we have that, what the world has done to exterminate Hinduism, and on the utterly powerful way of living our superconsciousness, our real existence, and how the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has enabled to live one's true conscious sovereignty. So let us take a look at what Hinduism still contributes to the world in the same way and with the same intensity, probably more, in the interest of making each and every being realize that each of us is really Paramashiva. So let's take a really the whole civilizational history can be encompassed in a few words, literally. The whole happening of the Hindu revival today, the Hindu persecution, vision and mission. Kailasa is the only macrocosmic ancient Hindu enlightened civilization. Kailasa creates a safe haven of humanity. Kailasa creates a safe haven to live, practice, express, and radiate the peaceful lifestyle of extraordinary powers as per mission, to not just preserve and protect Sanatana Hindu Dharma and share it with the entire world, but also to share the story of persecution that is yet unknown to the world. Towards this goal, Kailasa is dedicated to the preservation of practice Hinduism authentically in their own countries. Though the Kailasa movement is founded in the United States and spearheaded by members of the Hindu Adi Shaivite minority community, it is created for and offers a safe haven to all the world's practicing, aspiring, or persecuted Hindus, irrespective of race, gender, and the fundamental principle of Advaita or oneness, the idea that all beings can live in peace and harmony, and that all human beings are equal and divine, can reach the progressive indigenous spiritual tradition. It is an open framework or model of civilization that stands for non-violence, vegetarianism, worship of nature, organic life's Holocaust. On the other hand, is the story of the persecution of Hinduism. The Hindu Holocaust is a stark epitome of a campaign of race extermination through a systematic, egregious, and ongoing ethnic cleansing, forced relocation, double killing, crimes against humanity in world history. Hindus have time and again suffered religious persecution in the form of forceful conversions, massacres. Elimination of Hindus was done As Hinduism was once practiced freely in over 56 nations across the continent, from Afghanistan, India, Nepal, Burma, Sri Lanka, all the way to Singapore, Malaysia, Cambodia, and Indonesia, ended millennia of Hindu Swarajya or self-rule. Today, Hindu temples remain in few countries, but the Hindus who worshipped in them have been ethnically cleansed. The double killing, which is a Holocaust, recognized first and corrected thereafter. The denial of the Holocaust through distortion of history and ideological indoctrination is the last act of crime in the Holocaust, and the heralding of the strategy has been successful, as today nobody knows or even speaks of the unbroken continuum of annihilation, roots or ethnicity or some other distinction. Hindus have over the past over 2000 years been subject to mass murder, multiple perpetrator rapes, forced indoctrination level. All levels, literally physical, mental, emotional, cultural, religious, political, economical, social, and much more.
What I mean by the word e-Kailasa, listen intensely. Enlightenment ecosystem, literally enlightenment coming to you is e-Kailasa. Ecosystems, Sarvanya Peethas all over the world. All powerful cognitions. Hinduism cannot live exclusively as one sampradaya. No. All sampradayas of Hinduism is an ecosystem we affected. All of us are ecosystem. I invite all of you. We will make the whole planet flourish spiritually. The spiritual process.
This glorious Nithyananda? Yes. Place these Hindu Holocaust into three phases. The first phase is by the Islamic invaders, starting from 800 to 1700 AD, where the physical destruction of Hindu civilization, glee and pride, the slaughters of Hindus, forced conversions, abduction of Hindu women and children to slave the markets, and the destruction of temples carried out by the warriors. Overall, 200 million Hindus were slaughtered by Muslim invaders, 100,000 temples were destroyed, 1 million deities and imprisoned with them and converted the prisoners into obsequious Turks. The rape of a continent. Genocide endorsed by the Islamic law. Al-Hidayah, one of the most influential works of second Sunni, all the Muslims to call upon the God for assistance and make a war upon them, because God is the assistance of those who serve him, and destroyer of his enemies and infidels. And it is necessary to implore his aid upon every occasion. The Prophet moreover commands us to do so. So the law, you have every right to destroy the infidels as per the legal manual of the Islamic law. Having done so, Muslims must then, with God's assistance, attack the infidels. Resolution will fail and their force be broken. These means are therefore all sanctified by the law. So the law itself sanctifies all the horrendous acts of disarming a person. Alauddin Khilji by his qazi or legal advisor, who says that Hindus are like mud. If silver is ordained, if the Hindus do not accept Islam, they should be imprisoned, tortured, and finally put to death. And their properties must be confiscated. To keep the Hindus in abasement is especially a religious duty, because they are the most inveterate enemies of the Prophet. To physically destroy the backbone of this Sanatana Hindu Dharma. The rape of a continent. Mahmudian Qasim Hindu Shah Firista. He says that the Raja of Nagar Kota, after sustaining some loss, pieces of cow's flesh, filled bags with them, and caused them to be tied around the necks of Brahmins, who were then paraded through the camp.
Prisoners were divided into 4 sections and taken to each of the 4 gates of the great Katkar. There, on the stakes they had carried, the prisoners were impaled. Afterwards, their wives were. Technological destruction of Hindu civilization happened between the 17th and 20th century by the British occupation. They will to run the same celebrity, but to the most sordid and criminal exploitation of one nation by another in all recorded history. You can see the pictures of people, Indian. During the British occupation, $45 trillion were looted from India over 200 years. 45 million Hindus were dead due to famine. The British came to one of the richest countries of the world. Over 200 years of exploitation, looting, and destruction reduced it to a poster child of a third world poverty. The British justified their conquest and oppression of dark-skinned people as humanitarian, civilizing mission, even though it was a mere cover for the racial oppression and economic exploitation. Do you not see celebrated professor, historian, friend of Charles Darwin, and priest in the Church of England? Colonial subjugation, 200 years of intense racial hatred towards Hindus. Hindus are full of this ever drawn a more gross and disgusting picture of the universe than what is being presented in the writings of the Hindus. Very few words are required, especially regarding Islam, because the superiority of the Mohammedans in respect to religion is beyond all this. Catholic Church performs 250 years of ethnic cleansing in Goa. The fathers of the church forbade the Hindus under terrible penalties the use of their own sacred books and were liable to imprisonment, torture, and death if they worshipped after their own fashion the gods of their fathers. Each other's command against the foreign oppressor. They vowed this would not happen again. Divide and rule was an old Roman maxim, and it shall be ours, wrote Lord Elphinstone. A systematic policy of fomenting and demoralize the indigenous people of India so they would become slaves in their own homelands. The discriminatory laws to instill feelings of racial inferiority engineered famines to starve natives into submission, and it banned Indians from owning or producing the firearms. Now let us look into how did they engineer famines to split the spirit of the people. Multiple famines in India, claiming tens of millions of lives. Most recently in Bengal, 1943. Indians were forced to eat leaves, grass, and even human flesh for that matter, dependence and poverty. Prior to colonial rule, India was the world's leading textile manufacturer and produced the finest fabrics. The British engaged in a systematic campaign to destroy the local handloom industry through forever. They destroyed the local industry to ensure the dependence and poverty. By 1878, Indian Railways mechanics in Jamalpur in Bengal, all the local manufacturers of trains to ensure India's economic dependence on their colonial masters and destroy the native technological know-how were granted in their place. Now let us contemplate the result of this plan. From one end of the country to other, the pagodas were ruined and unmaintained. The revenues of Tripati are on a gradual false anti-Hindu narratives. British rulers perpetuated the narrative that Indians were generally illiterate and education was restricted to high caste Hindus, but their own served dismal 12% literacy rate. We must at present do our best to form a class who may be interpreters between us and the millions whom we govern, a class of persons by degrees fit vehicles for conveying the knowledge to the great mass of the population. for their ornate speech, self-importance, and founding attitude towards any Westerner they meet. Converting the native Hindu Rajas sorry for the technical glitch, the colonial subjugation, converting the native Hindu Rajas into proper management of India and Indians. Thus, they began to focus on the education of native princes and the pursuit of the objective in Macaulay's Minute on Education of 1837. Into the Criminal Tribes Act of 1871, the British government passed the Criminal Tribes Act, where various ethnic communities were deemed subversive to colonial authorities, birth, murdered, raped, arrested, had children separated from the parents and held in penal colonies, or quarantined without conviction or due process. Upon release from British custody, the targeted communities were subjected to surveillance and given tattoos to stigmatize them and make the media sensationalize the stories of bloodthirsty thuggies or bandits who would offer the human sacrifices to the wicked and fearsome goddess Kali. The image of thuggies was promoted worldwide as hegemony. The secular India, where the Hindu temples were looted and neglected. Post-independence, the Indian state continued the British policy of taxing 1,500 years ago, or much before the temples recognized by UNESCO are in ruins. Even the daily rituals are not performed. Some temples remain closed throughout the day with no one to even light the lamps. If you take the as such, women of reproductive age are forbidden to enter the temple out of respect for Ayyappa and to maintain the sanctity of the spiritual ecosystem. Otherwise, in almost reasons for spiritual ecosystem present in Sabarimala temple. Scriptures and oral tradition explain that the celibate male energy present in Sabarimala is actually harm to the female fertile body. This is a temple which has been visited over 50 million devotees a year, and it is one of the world's largest pilgrimage sites. That is, the temple was forcibly entered, vandalized, and its deity was broken down in 1950 by Syrian Christian provocators at the time of arson the Marxist atheists inculcated to Hindus in the recent times. Since 1991, a group of activist lawyers have sought to force the Sabarimala to accept women by judicial fiat. Next is the media narratives used to stereotype to render him favorably disposed to one's position. The communication media most commonly used in psychological warfare are the same as those that is being used in civilian lords and gurus as cartoonish, dishonest, corrupt sex freaks in a manner similar to British imperial propaganda. You can see here how India today denigrates the Hindu sari while praising the Muslim hijab. The glaring double standard only makes sense in the light of the anti-Hindu colonial stereotypes perpetuated in modern India without a sense of identity except to pathetically aid the West. This is a textbook case of internalized racism. What is the result? The result is Indians spend billions of... So far we have seen how the great Hindu civilization went through three different phases of Hindu Holocaust. The anti-Hindu forces openly challenge anybody who practices Hinduism. So, at this stage, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, and as revived by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, because of the amount of hard work and hate. The best part is the United Nations have now recognized the persecution that has been done on the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and his community for the second time. In the next segment, we will learn how he has compassionately opened the de facto spiritual embassies of Kailasa to one and all to protect themselves from this ongoing pandemic. So before we go to the next segment, let's take a short break and we'll be right back.
Intensely. Enlightenment ecosystem, literally enlightenment itself, in your own home, wherever is Kailasa. But by evolution, ecosystems, Sarvanya Peethas all over the world. All powerful cognition. Hinduism cannot live exclusively as one sampradaya. No. All sampradayas of Hinduism is an ecosystem. All of us are ecosystem. I invite all of you to get involved and enjoy the spiritual prosperity that happens on the whole planet. We all have to coexist together.
Welcome back. And now, as we shared at the start of this segment, we will go over being made by none other than the United Nations as a situation if one sees for women. In India, women and children in India is quite abysmal, as one has seen from various reports. Despite tremendous public outcry, resulted in the destruction of the entire social fabric. The state of the Republic of India has been either unwilling or unable to curtail these crimes. India is right now being labeled as the most dangerous country for sexual violence against women, according to the Thomson Reuters found in 2016, compared with the previous year. Sexual violence and brutal rape, as one has seen in the various news reports that have been flashing for a number of years now, have been weaponized against minorities, especially those from linguistic and religious minority groups and of dark-skinned people of indigenous spiritual traditions and of ethnic native Hindu tribes that have existed in India for millennia. Take on the garb of Hinduism, but actually they are anti-Hindu. The women, children, and young girls of the ASMT community were the most vulnerable target of these neo-Hindutva extremist militant forces. The neo-Hindutva terrorists despise Hindu women in monastic and priestly roles. The spiritual head of the ASMT has publicly declared himself, as we all know, Bhagwan has declared himself to be transcendental gender and possessing multiple gender components. The neo-Hindutva churches, the ASMT represents one of the most progressive ideologies and is a target of persecution by the neo-Hindutva extremists.
Marginalizing minority communities, especially targeting women with the use of image morphing and deepfake videos. Jagadguru Mahasannidhanam, His Divine Holiness Bhagwan Nithyananda Paramashivam. The neo-Hindutva affiliated media published articles with pictures of ASMT female leader for defaming her. Nakir and Gopal and other media heads pressurized Ranjita to commit suicide and circulated false news of the same to become nuns. In 2009, a 12-year-old ASMT girl was kidnapped and molested by the new Hindutva extremist. The US court sentenced the child rapist to 57 months of imprisonment. This did not were all rejected by the court with a penalty for defamation with cost. In India, however, the neo-Hindutva media tackles witches, prostitutes, cult worshippers, sex slaves, and also published violence inciting prejudice narratives such as hang the Sen Swamis, Hindu monks and the nuns. Several media houses continue to publish such by the government. The Indian government and the Indian state departments are perceived as one of the most corrupt in the world. The mainstream Indian media and social media. Sadly, there is no legal recourse available in India. In India, like we mentioned before, the court orders are not upheld by the government. The Indian government and in a court proceedings directly involving the ASMT, the court explicitly mentioned how the court was prone to prejudice by this negative media propaganda. Though the media can influence the judiciary in India, the court judgments are toothless in curbing the media hate propaganda. Neo-Hindutva media. The ASMT actress, the implementation of the order of various quasi-legal institutions. Finally, the media's self-regulatory quasi-legal body, the NBSA, ordered its member channels to remove the fabricated defamatory videos. SA, BCCC, and any such other bodies which do not ever have a website listing their policies and is known to disregard its own guidelines and orders, even when the member channels ridicule and shame dead celebrities. The NHRC, the National Human Rights Commission, has named his own biological mother, a Hindu nun, on the occasion of his father's sad demise. The channel went on to justify their sad sexual objectifications of Hindu nuns, terming it as an unbiased reporting. Indianing the ASMT nuns and girls with the defamatory sexualized allegations. In 2017, a court penalized a neo-Hindutist, continued the smear campaign. On 2nd of March 2010, the sensational and the repeated and the neo-Hindutva terrorist. On 7th of June 2012, Bengaluru, neo-Hindutva militants attacked on the ASMT monastery. Several ASMT nuns were raped. The Chief Minister of Karnataka cruelly and illegally interrogated children in the ASMT school, which is Gurukul. The interrogation was done without the consent of the parents, with no video recording of the examiners, late night beyond the time permissible by law. This community. The lawyer of the school was sued by the state for intervening in the violations of the rights of the children and the parents. Such raids were conducted by the state, and many other vexational legal proceedings and orders were executed by the state to forcibly shut down the school. On 10th of January 2018, the young female nun, Nithyananda, received death threats over phone for voicing out against defamatory sexualization of Hindu female saint Andal by politically owned media. And CWC Child Welfare Commission officials raided the female monastery and molested the children studying there. The CWC officials were pulled up by the parents of these children in the High Court. The police complained against the state and the Hindu university was destroyed. The false case is still not closed. Such targeted persecution of Hindu on absurd allegations of indecent dressing, booking in under anti-superstitious law. So what we have seen today is essentially the glorious contributions from the Sanatana Hindu Dharma to the entire humanity and the deadly Hindu Holocaust that happened in 3 different phases, and several contributions and paid media. So the report has been published in published and acknowledged by the United Nations, and the voice of the Hindus is being heard for this Nithyanandeshwara Paramashiva Devalaya from Bidadi, Bangalore. So stay tuned to join us for the celebrations of Guru Purnima Brahmotsav.
Kailasa. Listen intensely. Enlightenment ecosystem, literally enlightenment itself, in your own home, wherever you are.
Is participating in this puja to come and settle down.